Have you ever watched someone forgive betrayal over and over again, accepting the bare minimum from people who've stabbed them in the back? That's not strength. That's weakness disguised as compassion. And if you're a Sigma male watching this, you already know you're wired differently. Welcome back to Official Sigma Male, where we decode the mindset that separates the exceptional from the average. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most misunderstood aspects of the Sigma personality: why Sigma men never forgive disloyalty. Not because they hold grudges, not because they're cold-hearted, but because they understand something most people refuse to accept. Loyalty is not negotiable, and betrayal reveals character, not circumstance. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about bitterness. This is about standards, self-respect, and the unshakable understanding that some doors, once closed, should never be reopened. If you've ever been called too harsh or unforgiving for cutting someone off after they betrayed you, this video will validate everything you already know in your gut. We're going to explore the 6 fundamental reasons why Sigma men operate with zero tolerance for disloyalty. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why this approach isn't just justified. It's essential for anyone who values their peace, their purpose, and their power. And if you're serious about mastering the Sigma mindset and standing firm in your values, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is your manual for navigating life without compromise, and we're building a community of men who refuse to settle for less than they deserve. Now, let's break down why Sigma men never forgive disloyalty. 1. The sacred code of loyalty. For the Sigma male, loyalty isn't just a virtue. It's the foundation upon which every meaningful relationship is built. While most people treat loyalty as something flexible, something that can be bent or negotiated depending on circumstances, the Sigma man sees it as an absolute. It's binary. You're either loyal or you're not. There's no middle ground, no gray area, it's complicated. This perspective comes from a deep understanding of value and investment. When a Sigma male allows someone into his inner circle, it's not a casual decision. He doesn't hand out access to his life, his thoughts, or his trust like participation trophies. He observes, he evaluates, he tests character over time. And when he finally decides that someone has earned their place in his life, he extends something rare and valuable: his complete loyalty. But here's what most people fail to understand. This loyalty is reciprocal by nature. The Sigma male doesn't just expect loyalty, he demonstrates it first. He's the friend who shows up at 3 in the morning when you're in crisis. He's the business partner who protects your interests, even when you're not in the room. He's the brother who keeps your secrets to the grave. His loyalty is unwavering, unconditional, and often more valuable than anything he could give materially. So when betrayal happens, it's not just a mistake or a momentary lapse in judgment, it's a violation of something sacred. It's someone taking that rare gift of loyalty and throwing it back in his face. And the Sigma male recognizes this for what it truly is: a statement of character. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine you've built a business with a partner. For 3 years, you've split profits evenly, made decisions together, and had each other's backs through the tough times. Then you discover he's been secretly negotiating with your biggest competitor to sell them proprietary information you developed together. When confronted, he apologizes and says it was just business, nothing personal. Most people might consider forgiveness here. They'll rationalize it. Maybe he was desperate. Maybe he didn't understand the consequences. Maybe he deserves another chance. But the Sigma male sees through the fog. This wasn't about desperation. It was about character. Your partner showed you that when opportunity knocked, loyalty went out the window. And if he did it once under pressure, he'll do it again. The circumstances might change, but his character won't. The sacred code of loyalty exists because the Sigma male understands a fundamental truth. Life is too short and energy too precious to waste on people who view relationships as transactional. He'd rather have 3 absolutely loyal friends than 30 fair-weather acquaintances. He'd rather be alone than surrounded by people he can't trust. This isn't cynicism, it's clarity, and it's why Sigma men sleep peacefully at night, knowing that everyone in their inner circle has been tested, proven, and earned their place through demonstrated character, not empty promises. 2. Betrayal recognition patterns. Here's where Sigma men operate on a completely different level than most people. While the average person waits for betrayal to slap them in the face before they acknowledge it, the Sigma male has already identified the warning signs months in advance. He's not paranoid, he's observant, and there's a massive difference between the two. Sigma men are natural pattern recognition machines. They don't just listen to what people say, they watch what people do. They notice the micro inconsistencies that others dismiss as irrelevant. They pay attention to how someone treats the waiter, how they talk about people who aren't present, how they react when things don't go their way. These aren't random observations, they're data points that reveal character. The first pattern Sigma men recognize is the loyalty hierarchy test. Watch how someone behaves when there's a conflict between loyalty to you and personal gain. Do they choose you or do they choose the benefit? A Sigma male remembers these moments. When your friend cancels plans with you because a more attractive opportunity came up, that's data. When your colleague takes credit for work you contributed to because it helps their career, that's data. When your partner prioritizes their ex's feelings over your legitimate boundaries, that's data. Most people excuse these moments. They tell themselves stories. He's just busy. She didn't mean it that way. It's not a big deal. But the Sigma male doesn't rationalize away reality. He catalogs it, because he knows that small betrayals are just rehearsals for bigger ones. The second pattern is the integrity gap, the distance between someone's stated values and their actual behavior. People will tell you they value honesty, but then you catch them in small lies. They'll claim loyalty is everything, but they gossip about mutual friends behind their backs. They'll say family comes first, but their actions consistently prioritize everything else. Here's a real-world example. You have a friend who constantly posts on social media about loyalty and brotherhood. His profile is full of quotes about standing by your people through thick and thin. But when you're going through a difficult time and reach out for support, he's suddenly too busy, too stressed, too caught up in his own life. A few weeks later, you see him throwing an elaborate party for someone who can advance his career. Most people might feel hurt, but wouldn't call this betrayal. The Sigma male recognizes it immediately as a preview of coming attractions. This person has shown you that their loyalty is performative, not genuine. They like the image of being loyal more than they like actually being loyal. And when a real test comes, something that requires sacrifice or risk, they will fail it, guaranteed. The third pattern is boundary testing. Disloyal people don't usually betray you out of nowhere. They test first. They push small boundaries to see what you'll tolerate. They tell your minor secrets to gauge if you'll notice or care. They flirt with opportunities that conflict with your interests to see if you'll object. Each test is designed to map out how far they can go before facing consequences. The Sigma male spots these tests immediately and responds decisively. He doesn't give warnings or second chances on boundary violations because he understands that the testing itself is the betrayal. Someone who respects you doesn't need to test your boundaries. They honor them automatically. By the time most people realize they've been betrayed, the Sigma male has already identified the pattern, made his decision, and distanced himself. He's not waiting for the catastrophic betrayal because he's intelligent enough to read the map that leads there. And that's why he's rarely surprised by disloyalty. He saw it coming from miles away and simply chose not to ignore the signs like everyone else does. 3. The irreversible decision process. When a Sigma male decides to cut someone off for disloyalty, that decision is final. not emotional, not impulsive, not subject to change based on apologies or promises, final. And understanding why this process is irreversible is crucial to understanding the Sigma mindset itself. The decision to sever ties doesn't happen in a moment of anger. It's not a reaction, it's a conclusion. By the time a Sigma male closes the door on someone, he's already gone through an extensive internal evaluation process. He's reviewed the evidence, considered alternative explanations, examined his own role in the dynamic, and weighed whether the relationship serves any positive purpose in his life. This isn't a snap judgment. It's a calculated decision based on accumulated data. Think of it like a trial where the Sigma male is both prosecutor and judge. He doesn't take this role lightly. He reviews every piece of evidence objectively. He asks himself hard questions. Did I miss something? Am I overreacting? Is there context I don't understand? Could this be resolved through communication? He gives the accused every benefit of the doubt during this internal deliberation. But once he reaches his verdict, there's no appeal process. Because he knows himself well enough to trust his judgment, and he understands that the analysis he conducted was thorough enough to warrant confidence in his conclusion. Here's why this is irreversible. The Sigma male recognizes that betrayal isn't about the act itself. It's about what the act reveals. When someone betrays you, they're not making a mistake. They're showing you who they are when they think they can get away with it. They're demonstrating that their self-interest overrides their respect for you, and that character trait doesn't change because they got caught. Let me paint you a scenario. Your business partner embezzles money from the company. When confronted, he breaks down, apologizes profusely, promises to pay everything back, swears it will never happen again, and begs for another chance. He might even follow through, return the money, work overtime to prove himself, be on his best behavior for months or years. Most people, especially in business, might consider forgiving this. They see the remorse, they appreciate the restitution, they want to believe people can change. But the Sigma male asks a different question. Why did he steal in the first place? Not how does he feel about getting caught, but what was in his character that made him think stealing from a partner was acceptable? And the answer is always the same: a fundamental lack of integrity. That doesn't get fixed with an apology. That doesn't get erased with repayment. That's a character feature, not a bug. And the Sigma male knows that while behavior can be temporarily modified, character rarely changes. So why would he give someone a second opportunity to demonstrate the same character flaw? This is where the irreversible nature becomes not just logical, but necessary. The Sigma male protects his peace, his focus, and his future by refusing to give people multiple chances to hurt him. He understands that forgiveness without consequences is just enabling, and he values himself too much to enable his own potential victimization. There's also a strategic element here. Every second chance you give someone is a message, both to them and to yourself, about your standards. When you forgive betrayal, you're telling that person that your boundaries are negotiable. You're telling yourself that your peace is less important than maintaining a relationship with someone who's already proven they don't value you. The Sigma male refuses to send either of those messages. Once the decision is made, the Sigma male doesn't waver. He doesn't respond to apologies because he's not interested in making the other person feel better about their choices. He doesn't engage in long explanations because he doesn't owe anyone a justification for protecting himself. He simply removes that person from his life and moves forward. No drama, no public call-outs, no burning bridges for an audience, just a quiet, permanent closing of the door. This might seem harsh to people who believe in infinite chances and unconditional forgiveness. But the Sigma male isn't interested in being perceived as nice. He's interested in being respected, starting with respecting himself. And that means honoring his own boundaries with the same unwavering commitment he expects from others. 4. Self-respect over reconciliation. Society has sold us a dangerous lie. that forgiveness and reconciliation are always signs of strength, maturity, and emotional intelligence. We're told that holding boundaries makes us petty, that refusing to give second chances makes us unforgiving, that protecting ourselves from repeat offenders makes us bitter. The Sigma male rejects this narrative entirely because he understands that self-respect isn't negotiable. Not for peace, not for optics, not for anything. Self-respect means having such a high standard for how you allow people to treat you that you'd rather be alone than compromise it. It means understanding that your value doesn't depend on how many people you keep in your life, but on the quality of people you allow to remain. And most importantly, it means recognizing that some violations are so fundamental that reconciliation would require you to betray yourself. When someone betrays a Sigma male, they're essentially asking him to choose. Will you prioritize this relationship, or will you prioritize your own dignity? Will you accept this treatment to maintain peace, or will you honor your standards even if it means losing this connection? For the Sigma male, this isn't even a difficult choice. Self-respect wins every single time. Let's look at a practical example from the relationship context. Imagine you're in a committed relationship and you discover your partner has been maintaining an emotional affair with someone else. Not physical, but deep, intimate conversations, secret meetings, emotional vulnerability they're not sharing with you. When confronted, they're apologetic. They say they were confused, that it didn't mean anything, that they want to work on the relationship. The conventional wisdom says, this is salvageable. Go to couples therapy, rebuild trust, work through the issues that led to this situation, give them a chance to prove they've changed. Many people take this path because they value the relationship more than they value their self-respect. The Sigma male sees this completely differently. His self-respect asks a simple question. If I forgive this, what am I teaching this person about my boundaries? The answer is clear. I'm teaching them that my boundaries are suggestions, not requirements. I'm demonstrating that they can violate our agreement, and if they apologize effectively enough, there are no real consequences. More importantly, his self-respect asks an even harder question. Can I maintain respect for myself while staying with someone who showed me they don't respect me? Because the emotional affair wasn't just about connecting with someone else. It was about disrespecting the relationship, disrespecting the commitment, and disrespecting him as a partner. And the Sigma male cannot and will not sacrifice his self-respect to save a relationship that's already been fundamentally disrespected. This principle extends beyond romantic relationships into every area of life. The colleague who takes credit for your work, the friend who talks behind your back, the family member who consistently undermines you. Reconciliation with any of these people requires you to accept their treatment as tolerable. It requires you to lower your standards to accommodate their behavior. It requires you to choose peace over dignity. The Sigma male refuses that trade. He's not interested in peace at the cost of self-respect. He'd rather have conflict and dignity than harmony and degradation. He understands that the temporary discomfort of enforcing boundaries is infinitely preferable to the long-term soul erosion of accepting disrespect. Here's what makes this truly powerful. The Sigma male's self-respect doesn't fluctuate based on other people's behavior. His worth isn't determined by whether someone apologizes or changes. He doesn't need validation from the person who betrayed him to feel justified in walking away. His self-respect is internally generated, which means it's unshakable. This is why apologies don't move him. An apology from someone who betrayed him isn't an offering of peace. It's a request for absolution they haven't earned. It's the betrayer trying to alleviate their guilt by getting him to participate in pretending the betrayal wasn't that serious. The Sigma male sees through this manipulation immediately and refuses to participate. When faced with a choice between reconciliation and self-respect, the Sigma male doesn't agonize over it. He doesn't create pros and cons lists. He doesn't seek advice from 10 different people. He simply asks himself one question: which choice honors who I am? And the answer is always the same: self-respect wins every time, without exception. This is the line that separates Sigma males from everyone else. Most people will compromise their self-respect to maintain relationships. They'll rationalize, they'll excuse, they'll accept unacceptable behavior because they're afraid of being alone or starting over. The Sigma male has no such fear. He's comfortable with himself, confident in his value, and clear about his standards. And that combination makes him utterly unwilling to sacrifice his self-respect for anyone or anything. 5. The strategic distance principle. After a Sigma male identifies betrayal and makes the irreversible decision to cut ties, he doesn't just emotionally disconnect, he implements what I call strategic distance. This isn't about being petty or creating drama. This is a calculated approach to ensuring that the disloyal person has zero access to his life, his energy, or his future opportunities to cause harm. Strategic distance operates on multiple levels simultaneously. The first level is information control. Once someone has betrayed a Sigma male, they lose all access to information about his life. He doesn't share updates, doesn't discuss his plans, doesn't reveal his vulnerabilities. This isn't out of spite, it's out of strategy. He understands that information is power, and giving information to someone who's already proven they'll use it against him is tactical stupidity. In practice, this looks like immediate removal from all inner circle communications. They're out of the group chat. They don't get invited to gatherings. They're not included in discussions about future plans. The Sigma male doesn't badmouth them or create drama, but his absence from any situation involving them speaks volumes. The second level is operational separation. If you share professional spaces, the Sigma male immediately begins restructuring to minimize interaction. He changes how he schedules meetings, adjusts his workflow, finds alternative contacts for shared resources. If you're in the same social circles, he reconfigures his social strategy to avoid overlap. Let me give you a concrete example. You're part of a business networking group, and someone in that group betrayed your confidence. Most people might feel uncomfortable, but continue attending meetings, creating awkward tension. The Sigma male approaches this differently. He might shift to attending different meeting times, stops sharing meaningful information when that person is present, and builds stronger relationships with other members, so his network doesn't depend on group functions. The betrayer eventually realizes they're increasingly isolated, not because of open confrontation, but because of strategic distancing. The third level is protective boundaries with mutual connections. The Sigma male doesn't ask friends to choose sides, but he makes clear boundaries about what he'll tolerate. He might say something like, "I respect your relationship with him, but I need you to understand that I've made a permanent decision to keep distance. I won't attend events where he's present, and I'd prefer you don't share information about my life with him." Notice the lack of emotion, the absence of demands, but the clarity of the boundary. Some friends will respect this, others won't. The Sigma male is prepared to distance himself from those who won't as well. The fourth level is future-proofing. He changes passwords, updates security questions, removes shared access to any resources, retrieves any property they might hold. He reviews any legal or financial entanglements and methodically untangles them. This isn't paranoia, it's risk management. The beauty of strategic distance is that it's not reactive or emotional. It's proactive and systematic. The Sigma male doesn't waste energy being angry or vindictive. He simply makes it functionally impossible for the disloyal person to impact his life. Over time, the disloyal person essentially ceases to exist in the Sigma male's reality. They're not blocked because of ongoing anger. They're simply irrelevant. 6. Building loyalty-proof relationships. Here's where we shift from defense to offense. The most sophisticated Sigma males don't just react to betrayal, they prevent it through strategic relationship architecture. They build relationships that are structurally resistant to disloyalty from the start. The first principle is reciprocal vulnerability. The Sigma male doesn't just demand loyalty, he demonstrates it first, and he creates situations where both parties have equal investment in the relationship's integrity. In business partnerships, he structures agreements where both parties benefit equally from success and suffer equally from betrayal. In personal relationships, he shares vulnerabilities at the same pace he receives them, creating a balance where both people are equally invested. The second principle is selective exposure. The Sigma male operates on a need-to-know basis with everyone in his life, even people he trusts. He doesn't share information unnecessarily. His business associates know about his professional life, but not his personal vulnerabilities. His close friends know about his emotional landscape, but not necessarily his business strategies. Each relationship has clear boundaries about what's shared, and this isn't coldness, it's intelligence. The third principle is character assessment over time. The Sigma male never makes snap judgments about someone's loyalty. He tests it gradually, naturally, without the other person even realizing they're being evaluated. This might look like sharing a small confidence and seeing if it stays confidential, or delegating a small responsibility and seeing if it's handled with integrity. Each test builds a profile of character that's far more reliable than any promise. The fourth principle is outcome independence. The Sigma male structures his life so that no single relationship is critical to his success or happiness. He has multiple income streams, diverse friendships, and is comfortable alone. When every relationship in your life is chosen, not needed, people understand that betraying you means losing access to something valuable they can't replace. The fifth principle is transparent standards. The Sigma male makes his expectations about loyalty crystal clear from the beginning through actions and direct statements. This transparency self-selects his relationships. People who aren't capable of that level of loyalty naturally filter themselves out, while people who value the same principles are drawn to this clarity. Building loyalty-proof relationships isn't about creating an impenetrable fortress. It's about constructing relationships with enough structural integrity that betrayal becomes unlikely, and if it does happen, the damage is contained. When you build relationships this way, you're creating an environment where loyalty flourishes naturally, because the relationship is valuable enough that betraying it would be self-destructive. Here's the uncomfortable truth that most people will never accept. Forgiving disloyalty doesn't make you noble, it makes you accessible to people who've already proven they don't value you. And Sigma men understand this at a level most never will. Throughout this video, we've dismantled the myth that forgiveness is always the higher path. We've explored why Sigma men treat loyalty as sacred, how they recognize betrayal patterns before others even admit something's wrong, why their decision to cut ties is irreversible, how self-respect always trumps reconciliation, why strategic distance is non-negotiable, and how they build relationships that are immune to betrayal from the start. This isn't about being cold, it's about being clear. It's about understanding that your energy, your trust, and your presence are finite resources that should only be invested in people who've earned them. When someone shows you through their actions that they're willing to betray you, they're giving you information, and Sigma men are intelligent enough to listen. The world will call you harsh. They'll say you're holding grudges. They'll claim you're missing out on growth opportunities by not giving people second chances. Let them talk. While they're recycling toxic relationships and wondering why they keep getting hurt, you'll be building an inner circle of loyal, trustworthy people who actually deserve access to your life. Remember, loyalty isn't just about what people do when you're watching. It's about their character when you're not. And once someone has shown you they lack that character, no amount of apologies or promises can rebuild what was fundamentally broken from the start. If this resonated with you, if you're tired of the mainstream advice that tells you to tolerate disrespect in the name of forgiveness, then subscribe to Official Sigma Male right now. We're creating content that respects your intelligence and validates the standards you refuse to lower. Hit that notification bell, because we're just getting started on dismantling the weak narratives that keep men trapped in cycles of betrayal and disappointment. Stand firm in your boundaries, protect your peace, and never apologize for having standards that most people will never understand. That's the Sigma way.